Tonight, more evacuation orders on the Avalon as hundreds remain out of their homes and 3 wildfires burn out of control.
It's no secret this has been an unbelievably historic dry season on the island.
You know, my heart's in my throat waiting to hear word of what's happening in the area.
I am implementing a fire ban for the entirety of this province.
Every life here is turned bottom up just by gone to hell. You know, it's heartbreaking.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Heather Gillis, filling in for Carolyn Stokes. We begin with the wildfire situation on the Avalon Peninsula, and we're going to take you live to reporters who are near both fires. Our Ryan Cook is in Carbonear near the Conception Bay North fire, and Henrika Wilhelm is reporting from Conception Bay South this evening. But first, those 2 wildfires on both sides of Conception Bay are still considered out of control. The larger of the 2 is burning near the community of Kingston. Officials say the fire burned aggressively overnight and tripled in size. It's now more than 730 hectares. Evacuation orders in that area have expanded to Western Bay and Perry's Cove, while people from Kingston, Small Point, Adams Cove, Blackhead, Broad Cove are out of their homes for a second night. Meanwhile, the fire near Holyrood didn't grow through the night. It's still just over 20 hectares. That fire has forced more people from their homes in parts of Holyrood today, while nearby parts of Conception Bay South are also still evacuated. In all, the province says at least 600 people are out of their homes. Also, the Bury Heights summer camp has been evacuated, and there is a 3rd fire in central Newfoundland, specifically Martin Lake and Great Rattling Brook. Evacuations are forcing people from their homes in Conception Bay North, and that's where we find Ryan Cook. He is in Carbonear tonight. Ryan, what's the latest there?
Well, Heather, as you mentioned, the fire here is still burning out of control, and we're standing on a hillside here in Carbonear where we're several kilometers from that fire, but I can reach my hand out and catch falling ash from the sky. Residents here are fed up. They're just angry. They don't believe that this fire is an accident.
You coward, step forward and take what you're doing and take responsibility for it before someone catches you.
There's been about a dozen fires in these small towns so far this summer. Mayor Curtis Delaney told us that it's just too many to be Mother Nature's doing. What message do you have for whoever is behind this?
Stop. They need to stop this, and I hope that they're caught. I mean, we've engaged with different enforcement agencies, and you know, everyone is actively involved in, you know, bringing this person or persons to justice.
Water bombers focused on the southern edge of the fire today, hoping to keep it from spreading to nearby Perry's Cove, but the winds just didn't cooperate. An evacuation order was given to residents there just before 3 p.m. and we watched as they left their homes with ash and embers falling from the sky around them. They left to join residents of Small Point, Adams Cove, Blackhead, Broad Cove, and Western Bay here at the Tercel School Complex, where people wondered if their homes were still standing.
The stress. I was down to the doctor the other day myself. Blood pressure was on bust. He said, Glenn, if you never took the blood pressure pills off your sister-in-law, he said, you would have had a heart attack. It's not easy trying to run my own business and dealing with this is heartbreaking.
Now, we know that homes have been lost, but we just don't know how many at this point. Officials say that they still haven't been able to get in to assess some of the areas of these towns to see the damage, and they want to wait until they have a full picture before they put a number on just how many homes have been lost. So residents in the meantime are stressed, as you heard there. They're waiting to hear if their homes are still standing. Many of these people, they got through the first fire in May, only to now face the possibility that they could lose their homes this time around. Heather?
Thank you, Ryan. Now to the wildfire in Holyrood, which broke out Monday afternoon. It forced residents in that town and the neighboring Conception Bay South to flee. That's where we find Here and Now's Henrika Wilhelm. Henrika, what's the latest you can tell us about that fire and the ongoing evacuation for some parts of Conception Bay South and Holyrood?
Well, Heather, the situation here in Conception Bay South is largely unchanged from yesterday. I've been here since noon and the wind picked up periodically throughout the day, and that's when you can really smell the smoke in the air. According to the provincial government, the fire is still deemed out of control, but has not grown in size. And they also said that water bombers and ground crew held that fire yesterday and they continued their work today. Now, of course, as during every evacuation so far this summer, evacuees have been asked to register with the Red Cross. And the spot to do that is now at the Robert French Memorial Stadium here behind me. That's after the evacuation order was expanded a few hours ago. Up until then, it was at the CBS Arena, just a couple minutes down the road. And that's where around 70 people registered for accommodations last night, but many also stayed with family and friends. The Salvation Army has also been here, and both organizations were supported by everyday people who came out to volunteer, like Noreen Taylor.
It is a tight-knit community. We know everybody, and it's a friendly face that they see that gives them that little bit of peace of mind that allows them to relax for a short period of time till they can actually try to get some answers and hopefully get back in their homes.
Two evacuees who are hoping for a speedy return to their home are the McCrates. After they spent all day yesterday at the hospital, they were surprised by the evacuation order on their way home.
The police had the road blocked off, and we were told we couldn't get in because I needed to get my medication, and they said no and turned us around. So we're lucky we had a trailer we could go to in Salmonier. So now we're out here today because we had to register for the Red Cross and everything, and I have no clothes.
The McCrates and other evacuees are making the best they can of the situation, but there is also some worry and fear. That's no different for the community's mayor. Darren Bent says he's concerned about the ongoing hot and dry conditions, and he's urging people to stop lighting fires.
We had to deal with 7 fires being lit on Tercel Beach last night. Now you're breathing smoke coming in from Seal Cove and Holyrood. You're breathing smoke that is coming across the bay from Conception Bay North, and you're lighting a fire in Tercel. Boy, just hold off on the fire for a little bit, okay? Because we've got people that have been removed from their homes, right? They've had to leave everything they have behind. Put yourself in their shoes, right? When you're lighting that fire, think about if I came to you and say, that's it, you got to go now, because you may lose your home. People got to think about that.
You heard it there, a passionate plea from the mayor for people to be aware of the conditions. A provincial fire ban has been put back in place as of today, but the mayor says residents here, of course, see the ongoing devastation in Conception Bay North, and they worry that they might be next. Reporting live from Conception Bay South, I'm Henrike Wilhelm.
Thank you, Henrika. As you just heard there from Henrika, a province-wide fire ban is now in effect until September 7th. It means a number of restrictions. Fires are prohibited 300 meters from a forest, park, yard, or greenbelt. Coal barbecues have to be extinguished completely after use. Off-road vehicles have to have proper exhaust screens or baffling to prevent sparks, and drivers on those vehicles have to carry a fire extinguisher in grassy or wooded areas. Violating the fire ban could land you a fine worth $1,000 or more. The forestry minister says the ban helps reduce the risk of fires. There have been 192 fires so far this summer, compared with just 58 last year.
And the weather so important when it comes to fighting the fires, and then of course the dry conditions along with that heat, and then the fear of more fires. So now we have, or still have rather, a air quality statement in effect for the northern portion of the Avalon. There's the 2 fires there. I wanted to show you the way the winds are going to blow as we head through tonight, just to give you an idea of who is going to see the smoke or those air quality statements for you. But it looks like as we head through the night tonight, we will see some of that smoke head towards the isthmus, and then eventually along along the Bonavista Peninsula as we head through the overnight tonight and into the first part of tomorrow morning. Eventually, we'll see that towards the tip of the Bonavista Peninsula and then into tomorrow afternoon. That smoke, because of southerly winds, will push offshore and then towards the northern portion of the northwest Avalon. Here's a look at the winds. We are going to see them be more variable as we head through the night tonight and into the first part of tomorrow. And then as we head in towards tomorrow evening and then into Thursday, those winds will start to get gusty, upwards of about 20 kilometers per hour out of the west. I'll have your full forecast coming up a little later.
Thanks, Ashley. Looking forward to it. Premier John Hogan was flanked by the Forestry Minister and the Minister for Public Safety, as well as the RCMP's Chief Superintendent today to address the province's fire situation. Here's a little of what he had to say.
We've had 192 fires already this summer, and that's been a total of 8,400 hectares burned in this province. Historic numbers that we are facing and that we've seen over the first few months of the summer. The wildfire status as of this morning, about an hour ago, in the Kingston Adams Cove Small Point area. The very unfortunate situation is that we can confirm that we have lost some structures overnight, which really was not surprising given that the fire has tripled in size since last night to about 735 hectares right now. Forestry crews are holding the line. They were holding the line on the fire yesterday, but it did take off around 7:30 last night, and as I said, burned aggressively through the night, which led to the tripling in size. It did burn up along the areas of Adams Cove and Small Point, and as I said, the reports that we have can't confirm the numbers because it is still very smoky, but it's pretty safe to say we have lost some structures overnight.
Well, those fires have left a heavy haze over the northeast Avalon, slightly reducing the air quality. Now, the smoke can be dangerous for people with lung conditions, the elderly, pregnant women, and small children. It's prompting a warning from Public Health.
So wildfire smoke have some very fine particles in them, and unfortunately because of that they can get far down into your lungs when you breathe in. And so for people who have difficulties with their lungs already, if they have inflammatory conditions in their lungs such as asthma, the wildfire smoke can increase that inflammation, and so because of that it can trigger an attack, I guess is what we would say. And so we would recommend to people who are vulnerable to make sure you have your rescue medications.
The U.S. Coast Guard has released its investigation into the Titan disaster from June 2023. It says the deaths and loss of the sub were preventable. Mark Quinn reports.
This was not an isolated event. The Coast Guard's 300-page report says it was the result of cavalier risk-taking and a cascade of failures that were years in the making. The Titan, built and designed by OceanGate, imploded in international waters almost 700 kilometers southeast of Newfoundland.
Well, there was a lot of maritime companies, and I would say that OceanGate's culture was one of the worst from a safety perspective.
Tragedy struck as the submersible was making a nearly 4-kilometer deep dive to the wreckage of the Titanic. The U.S. Coast Guard's investigation concluded that OceanGate's Titan was badly designed. Investigators also said certification, maintenance, and inspection of the submersible were all profoundly inadequate. Investigators said OceanGate's CEO Stockton Rush would likely be facing criminal charges if he hadn't died in the implosion.
We would have recommended from the Marine Board that a separate criminal investigation be opened for seaman's manslaughter. And that really comes down to his role as the master of the vessel when the others perished. We feel there was negligence involved there.
St. John's-based Titanic diver and expedition specialist Larry Daly says it's a detailed confirmation of what he feared about the Titan and OceanGate.
Upsetting, and unnerving to hear how things ran in that business.
Investigators concluded a toxic workplace culture at OceanGate and a whistleblower process that clearly failed all contributed to the tragedy.
All of that just shocked me to see that. And, it's unfortunate that that gentleman lost his life. He was an adventure explorer, I get that. But at the same time, 4 other individuals lost their life as well.
The report makes 17 recommendations calling for more federal and international scrutiny of all submersibles on scientific or commercial dives. Mark
Welcome back to Here and Now. The RCMP says it's investigating the fires in the Conception Bay North area. Here's Chief Superintendent Pamela Robinson.
I understand the frustration and anxiety that people are feeling, and I want to reiterate that we are actively investigating the fires that have been reported to the RCMP. I need to stress that we cannot investigate what is not reported. We've heard a few different numbers in terms of how many fires there have been, and it doesn't line up with the information that we are receiving in what has been reported to the police. So if you are able to extinguish a small brush fire, we still want you to contact the police to make a report on that particular fire. The reality of these investigations is that they are very complex. They take time. An investigation may also be delayed during an evacuation because it must be safe to re-enter to conduct that investigation. We are urging anybody with information about wildfires or suspicious activity to contact their local police department and make a report. This includes reporting any fires that you see, even if it's quickly extinguished. And if you don't report it, again, we cannot investigate it. Our communities are close-knit, and information and rumors can spread very quickly, which then, in turn, turn into fear and frustration.
To the water now, where Indigenous youth from across Canada are on a trip of a lifetime. They're on a marine expedition aboard the Polar Prince, learning about ocean life and witnessing a Smart Boy deployment. It all begins in Stephenville, and Here and Now's Colleen Connors takes a look.
The Polar Prince is just hours away from leaving on this youth marine voyage. 20 young people are on board, about to take in a week of sea education and help deliver and deploy this massive smart buoy off the coast near Conn River. This tool will monitor data like currents and wave height to predict fishing seasons. Captain Tremblay helps lift the 90 meters of chain attached to the anchor, who's anticipating the deployment process.
I've never done it before. We have a few people on board that have done it. We have a proper plan, but it's always it's fun to get to do that kind of new stuff, various stuff with every single trip.
Tremblay has been captain of the Polar Prince for a year now, and he's had the opportunity to take youth ages 15 to 25 to all kinds of unique locations across the province. This week, youth from Mi'alpekek First Nation, Halibut First Nation are joining young people from Nunavut for a 4-day expedition. The students will learn about the operations on board the vessel and take part in scientific teaching methods with the staff from the Marine Institute.
And some of the things that we're doing here, we're going to be sending down drop cameras to look at shipwrecks that we know that are mapped. They were found by multi-beam sonar by the Hydrographic Service, but they don't have images of them. We have wave buoys on here. I believe we're going to be doing CTD casts as well to look at some salinity and temperature and do some of those measurements.
The Polar Prince's helicopter hangar has been transformed into the ultimate hangout spot.
Definitely, I'm enjoying it. Yeah? Every single minute, every single moment.
What do you enjoy about it?
I enjoyed about it how to use the ship, like steering or navigate using a chart.
To be honest, I am such a history buff and I genuinely love the natural world around me, so I thought that this would be an amazing experience to just, meet people like me and, experience the world together kind of thing.
For many of them, these next few days are going to be a trip of a lifetime, something they'll never forget. And it may even spark a future career in this field.
So I could do nursing soon, someday. So I could be here one day.
The Polar Prince arrives in Conn River Sunday, first to deploy the buoy. Then the youth will spend the day in the community engaging in cultural activities. The public is also welcome on board the vessel. The Polar Prince will then head to St. John's to get ready for the next adventure. Colleen Connors, CBC News, Stephenville.
Well, you are looking at our live shot of St. John's Harbour from the rooms cam, where you can see a little bit of haze from the fires. We're going to have your weather forecast coming up next. Welcome back to Here and Now. An 18-year-old woman from Nain is dead after an ATV accident. Police say the crash happened Saturday morning around 9 a.m. at a playground. The woman, who was the driver, was trapped underneath the vehicle. Emergency responders freed her. She was taken to the Nain Community Clinic and pronounced dead. The investigation is continuing. Ashley is here now with a look at your weather forecast. And Ashley, we're hearing that cabin owners in Martin Lake, Great Rattling Brook in central Newfoundland are also being urged to evacuate. And this comes as we have some pretty dry and warm weather across the province.
Yeah, especially through parts of central today, reaching, temperatures in the low to mid 20s. And this is just the beginning because things are going to warm up as we head towards the end of the week. Now, daytime highs topping out somewhere between 18 to 21 degrees along the northeast coast today, warmer along the south coast as well, and then up across Labrador. Nain just out of the picture there, but about 17 degrees today. And then for central areas of Labrador and even towards the coast, those temperatures are in the upper teens and mid 20s even. And like I said, this is just going to continue. Now we take a look at the temperatures right now. Things have cooled off, and that is because of that shift in the winds to more onshore flow, northeasterly winds bringing that temperature down to about 16 degrees in St. John's. And as you can see, there is not a whole lot of humidity, and we're not going to be dealing with that until we head towards the end of the week, once we start to see some of that warmer air move in. And then same thing up across Labrador as well. Eventually you will see some of that humidity, but it's not good news, because if we take a look at the current relative humidity, it is a little higher than it was yesterday at this point, but about 63%. And as we head through the night tonight, we will see that ramp up a little bit. But then into tomorrow afternoon, again, another dry, warm day expected. Relative humidity only about 44%. And fires like that. So you can expect that behavior again for the fires to be pretty high. And then as we head into Thursday, again, similar relative humidity, only in about the 40s. And then by the time we get into Friday, this is when we'll start to see some of that humidity move in. And then that means that relative humidity will go up with it as well. And even more so as we head towards the weekend. The reason for that is this big ridge of high pressure that is dominating the weather picture this week. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but that is the story. And as it heads further east this weekend, we'll see that humidity move in, and along with that heat. By the time we get into Friday, some areas seeing those mild temperatures, and it is going to continue through the weekend. This is just a quick snapshot of the 5-day trend in the central region. You are looking at your average temperature typically around this time of year, around 22 degrees. By the time we get into Friday and the weekend, your temperatures will be in the upper 20s, low 30s, and then even more as we, even warmer rather, as we head into next week. We could be talking about daytime highs well into the 30s as well. As far as that rain goes, again, nothing in the forecast, nothing substantial anyway through most of this week. As we head into the weekend, though, we'll start to see some rain, some rain, but it'll be up across Labrador for the most part. You're just looking at, about 5 to 10 millimeters in some cases by the time we get into Sunday. Now, through the night tonight, that ridge of high pressure dominating, like I said, generally looking at clear skies, maybe a little bit of partly cloudy skies, but it is going to be a little bit chilly, especially for parts of Lab West. It'll be sitting around 7 degrees. The rest of the Big Land will sit somewhere between 12 to 13 degrees, and then across the island portion of the province through central west coast, you're looking at your temperatures in the single digits. Otherwise, somewhere between 10 to 14 will be the daytime highs. And then into tomorrow, those winds variable depending on where you are. But other than that, sunshine. Now, we may see a few showers develop across Labrador. I don't think so. I think it'll mainly be cloud cover, but there's a slight chance of that. Although temperatures tomorrow across most of the island will sit in the upper 20s, low to mid 20s rather. And along the south coast, so your temperatures will sit in the upper teens, low 20s. So very different story with those winds out of the southeast and south eventually for really along the northeast coast. Those of you in the west will see those northwesterly winds. Now for Labrador, you'll be sitting somewhere between 20 to 25 degrees. Again, your winds either out of the west or northwest. They'll be a little breezy, somewhere between 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. We'll talk about everybody's long range forecast when I come back.
As multiple wildfires burn in the province tonight, forcing hundreds from their homes, we're going to bring in the Forest Fire Duty Officer, Jeff Motti, for the latest. Thanks for being with us. We heard earlier in the show there are more evacuations tonight. What can you tell us about the status of the fire in Kingston?
So the fire in Kingston is still deemed out of control. The last time we had accurate mapping on that was 721 hectares, but it's been kicking up a lot of smoke today. And so we haven't got an accurate perimeter on that, but we will get an accurate perimeter soon. The winds are from the north east, which is blowing the fire towards the community of Perry's Cove. So there was an expanded evacuation order placed for that. So we're pretty we got resources on that one, and that one's been kind of taxing the department over the past 2 days, but we had to kind of switch our aerial resources off that fire and really redirect them towards the Holyrood fire. So on the Holyrood fire, we've been actually, directing all our aerial resources on that one. And we've got a specific kind of line that we're kind of defending around the communities, and we've done some fire behavior modeling on that and really tried to maintain that line. But based on the fact that if we cannot maintain that line, we've expanded kind of the evacuation zone on that. Last time that fire was mapped, it was 22 hectares in size. But again, smoke's kicking up. That one's probably a little bit larger in size. And just recently, we've had another fire come in that's in central Newfoundland. That's Martin Lake and Great Rattling Brook. We've just recently urged cabin owners to evacuate that area. We've got our firefighters on site. That one is out of control. It's 60 hectares in size, and the crews are working on the cabin that's closest to the fire's edge and putting up sprinkler systems. So that's the 3 project fires of note that we've been kind of actioning today. We've got more besides that, but that's the major ones.
So, Jeff, when you have 3 major fires like this in the province, how do you choose where to deploy your resources when people's homes can be at risk?
Well, it's not an easy decision, and quite often you're right. It's life first, homes and structures next. But it's a balancing act, and of course you got to play science and weather into all those things. So we're quite fortunate that we've got 4 water bombers in the province, and we use them, and they're powerful pieces of equipment. We've been supplementing those water bombers with helicopters and of course ground crews. So as we find that we need more resources, we order more resources. So we ordered a bird dog aircraft in from New Brunswick yesterday to help coordinate the efforts of the water bombers on site. And just then we ordered in 3 more aerial assets from New Brunswick. They're going to arrive tomorrow. They're called Air Tractor 802. So they're not quite as powerful as our water bombers that we have in province, but they can still carry a load of 800 gallons. So every ounce of water that we can put on these fires adds up. So
yeah, absolutely. We have a stretch of dry weather on the way. What does that do to your efforts to fight these fires?
It certainly makes the fire behavior more challenging. And, from that, we've got to make sure that we maintain wildland firefighter safety on the line. So we make sure that safety is number one one of our number one objectives. So we want everyone that's working on these fires to be safe and coming home.
Absolutely. So do we. Jeff, thank you so much for your time today and explaining the latest on these fires.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Returning to our top story now. Evacuation orders are in place in communities across Conception Bay, and residents in the surrounding areas feel anxious that fires could spread their direction. Some people are taking precautions in case the situation gets worse.
We've got 28 horses here. Okay. But a lot of them were born here, so they've never been on a trailer. With the horses, you really don't know. Like, if you wait for them to give us the signal to go, with all the smoke and all that, the horses are going to be acting up. So if they sense any of that, they're going to get a lot worse. So you got to try to stay calm, keep everybody calm, keep them calm. So you want to get them out before the smoke gets really bad. Mm-hmm. So like I said, we may have done it way too early, but now we know they're out of here and they're safe.
We can't open the windows. We can't turn on the air conditioning. We kept the cats in.
very strong in it.
Yeah, it's really hard to breathe, and it's like kind of scary too, because like since we can like see the smoke pretty good, it's really scary.
It's where it's so dry. I guess we've had no rain whatsoever, and it's been very, very hot. Today it was 29 behind our house in Kelligrews, so it's very hot. We're getting no rain at all, so it's bad. The summers are changing.
My wife said to me, she said, "Did you take the pot off?" Because I was boiling some eggs, right? And I said, I wasn't sure. Maybe we should pop back and just check and see. So we went to come back, and when we came back, they wouldn't let us through because the fire trucks were there then, and they said no. So we had to go on out to town, and we got to come up around the other way, out the highway. You know, it happened fast, and apparently it spread fast because we got a daughter, you know. Karen was over, she was working in the fish plant, and they said that they seen the fire there, and said 1 minute you could see it in one spot, and then it was spreading down towards Seal Cove in that direction. And I guess where everything is so dry, it can spread, and the danger is certainly imminent here because there's nothing but forest around us on both sides.
Moving on now, the RCMP in St. John's held a special service today honoring the memory of police officers and those who have served who have died.
This garden is a tribute to all members and staff who have served the RCMP, regardless of how they have passed. It is my hope that this memory garden serves as a place to sit, reflect, and remember old friends and family. And it is a constant reminder of the commitment we all make to serve, to protect, and to make our communities safer together.
My mother, Hilda Penny, who was a civilian with the RCMP. She managed the cafeteria. When she passed away in 2021, she was given an honorary honor guard. And so all of the RCMP officers showed up in uniform, gave her a 21-gun salute, which tells you how much, you know, she was loved.
We're gathered today to remember family and friends and colleagues in this wonderful place that's been set aside for a very special use, this place of peace, place of reflection, a family place, a place of harmony, and a place of reconciliation. We come here today to remember, and we come in gratitude for those people whose names are engraved on these stones and whose names will be added to this garden this year. And so we remember Gerald and Gregory and Brian and David and Tyler and Hilda and Ernest and John. And we are grateful for their service and for their friendship and love.
Well, the Paul Reynolds Centre in St. John's will reopen tomorrow. The facility closed yesterday due to issues with heating and cooling equipment in the building. Repairs are being completed today. The city says the pool will follow its regular schedule starting at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. This closure was the latest incident at the Paul Reynolds Centre, which has faced several issues since its opening, including a part of the ceiling collapsing just back in June. Prime Minister Mark Carney has announced new measures to transform Canada's softwood lumber industry in the face of Donald Trump's trade war. At a press conference in BC Tuesday, he said Ottawa will provide $1.2 billion to help producers deal with American countervailing and anti-dumping duties. The Prime Minister said these measures are necessary given the current state of Canada-U.S. relations.
At this hinge moment in history, Canada is starting to shift from reliance to resilience. Together, we're going to write our own story rather than let others dictate theirs to us.
The aid package includes $700 million in loan guarantees to help companies get financing to support and restructure operations. The goal is to reduce reliance on exports to the U.S. Carney said the package also includes $500 million in grants and contributions that companies can use to bolster product development and market diversification. Money will also go to programs supporting Indigenous-led business development. Meanwhile, Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand and Finance Minister Francois-Philippe Champagne were in Mexico to talk to the president of that country about economic growth, trade, and security. In other news, a marine biology student had a close encounter with a great white shark during a recent expedition off the coast of Halifax. Geraldine Fernandez snapped a stunning photo of the shark, one that has many people wondering if it was even real. Here's her story.
It was a very unique encounter. We're not normally looking for great white sharks in the Halifax waters, and we were just obsessing over this blue shark that came by. And within a split second, I just see a great white shark go through my screen. And we freaked. All the guests got their gear on, and we were in that water so quickly. One of the guests screamed, "Oh, it's coming up, it's coming up." All of a sudden, I just have this great image of the moment where I fell in love with that shark. It was amazing.
This individual was, in the true sense, massive, close to approaching 15 feet long, and just an extraordinary animal. It was pretty much ignoring the bait for the most part, lifting its head out of the water to look what was happening above the water. And it was, those types of encounters are special.
I really want him to be seen the way that he actually was, which is just beautiful, graceful, elegant, and powerful. So powerful.
A Nova Scotia man is the proud owner of a 1985 Toyota Tercel. He bought it in 1990 and says it's been a good, reliable car. But despite being 40 years old, the car is in mint condition. But there's just one thing wrong with it. The odometer, he says, doesn't go high enough. The CBC's Francis Willick explains.
Andy Campbell's ride may not look like much to your average driver. Maybe a bit dated, a bit low-tech, a throwback to an earlier time when cassettes were in vogue and backup cameras were just a gleam in a car designer's eye. But if you take a closer look, you'll see there's something special about this 1985 Toyota Tercel. Not only does it run perfectly, not only is it pretty much in mint condition, look even closer. The only thing wrong with this Tercel is that the odometer doesn't go up high enough. It says 253,000 kilometers, but it's missing a 1, as in 1 million. This car has more than 1.25 million kilometers.
So I am looking for the next million, but geez, I don't know if I'm going to live long enough.
Don't believe him? He's got proof, and he carries it with him wherever he goes.
There's one of all of the 9s and the 0s, right? See, 1.6 kilometer. Brand new car, man, 1 kilometer on it, right?
Campbell bought the car in Halifax for $2,500 around 1990. Over the years, he stashed away enough spare parts to try to keep it going for 1 million more.
There's heater motors, radiator, fans and stuff, right? Just things that I hope I never will have to use again, but if I do, instead of going to Toyota, I come here.
Except for the front end alignment, he does all the maintenance himself. Almost everything has been replaced or repaired. Campbell says the body is probably the only original part left, and that's had work done on it too.
That car is for me to use. If I got to get up in a snowstorm and go to Halifax or Elmsdale or whatever it might be, I can go with it.
Campbell says although the 85 Tercel has seen a lot of road, he mostly just takes it around the Maritimes or sometimes to Newfoundland. But he does have a backup vehicle just in case.
Would you like to see my new car? This is my new one, 86. How you like it?
I love it.
So do I.
Campbell says he's not really a car guy or a Toyota guy or even a Tercel guy. It's just his Tercel that he's so passionate about. If you've got your checkbook out wanting to make Campbell an offer, he says you're wasting your time. This Tercel isn't and never will be for sale. Frances Willick, CBC News, Wise's Corner.
Welcome back. People in a Virginia town are continuing a 100-year-old annual tradition, and that is taking their ponies out in the ocean for a dip. Thousands of people turned out for the event. It involves saltwater cowboys herding wild ponies on a short swim between two islands. Look at them. By tradition, the first foal on the shore is named King Neptune. The swim and surrounding activities raise money for the town's volunteer fire company, which manages the herd and the event. Well, the fires have been really our top story in this show tonight, and we just have a little update from Elvis Lovelace, who is the MHA for a part of the South Coast there. He says the fire burning in central Newfoundland near Route 360, which is the Bay to Spare Highway, looks like it is unlikely to impact that road tonight. Of course, there's going to be some smoke there and things could change. So he says only travel on that road if you need to. Yep. And of course, that hot, dry weather also is not helping, and it doesn't look like we'll get any rain tomorrow or the next day or the next couple of days.
Or the next day after that, or honestly, dry, very dry conditions. Although we will see a bit of humidity move back in, which is good news. Let's take a look at what's going on as we head through our Wednesday evening and into Thursday. So that ridge of high pressure dominating. We'll see a little bit of cloud cover up across Labrador through Thursday, but for the most part, there is nothing on that map to talk about other than that ridge of high pressure and a little bit of cloud cover here and there. But we are going to start to see some areas see those temperatures climbing. And that means we'll be seeing temperatures in the mid to upper 20s in some cases through the day on Thursday. That should be fairly widespread across the province. Now, areas that are in onshore flow, your temperatures will be a tad cooler, but still quite mild. Along the south coast, you're looking at daytime highs 21 to 22 degrees. And then for Labrador overall, other than along the strait, where temperatures will be cool because you're going to be in onshore flow, we're looking at mid to upper 20s. That will be the story. And then as we look ahead to Friday, even more so, looking at that big ridge of high pressure, this day should be nearly cloudless for most areas, maybe through central and parts of eastern may see a bit of cloud cover towards the evening, but a beautiful day as far as the weather goes. We are looking at the northern portion of Labrador, potentially seeing a few showers through the late day on Friday. But there you go. Temperatures 25 to 30 degrees, essentially island-wide. Again, areas that are in onshore flow may see those temperatures a tad cooler, but they should still be in the 20s through the day on Friday. And this is when we'll notice a little bit of humidity in the air. We'll start to feel it Thursday. It'll feel a little muggy by the time we get into Friday, and that will continue through the weekend. It shouldn't feel super humid, but certainly starting to feel a little bit muggy in that time frame. There's your long-range forecast. Temperatures, lots of sunshine icons. Temperatures will sit in the mid to upper 20s, or overnight lows will still sit in the teens as well. Now, I showed you a little earlier, daytime highs should be around 22 degrees this time of year, and our overnight lows much cooler than that. So we're certainly seeing these above seasonable temperatures even through central, 30 degrees Friday, Saturday, maybe even into Sunday as well. Western Newfoundland just a tad cooler, but still hot. About 26 degrees will be your daytime highs. We're looking at 30 to 31 for eastern portions of Labrador, although Saturday will become a little bit more unsettled. We'll start to see some shower activity. Sunday definitely looks like showers for most of you across Labrador. Yeah, your temperatures are still going to stay mild. Our weather photo today taken in Butterpot Park. This was Saturday morning. A misty morning sunrise there. Thank you so much to Jim for that photo. If you have any weather photos you'd like to share with us, we'd love to see them. You can send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Nice shot, Jim. Very, very nice. Well, that is our show for this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. For all the latest, stay tuned to our website, cbc.ca/nl, for any updates on any of the fires in our province. Good night.
Good night.